I'm Janelle.
I'm Marissa.
And we are
Anime Jam.
Woo-hoo. Welcome to the new year, 2024. It's awesome.
Yes. Yes. We are halfway through the first month of the first year.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got some new shows that we would like to talk about that are coming up. This is going to be for like the winter 2024 season in terms of anime.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to mention that it usually starts off in January, but sometimes it can start in December.
Yeah.
And it ends around April. Sometimes May.
And I think we'll mention some that came out in October or like the fall of 2023.
Yeah.
Because the episodes are still coming out weekly, so
it's continuing.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. We'll talk about some new shows that we want to watch or we have watched already. I'll go ahead and get started. So the first one I'm going to talk about is called Solo Leveling. And I heard about this a while ago. And based on the title alone, I was like, I want to watch this anime.
Yeah.
Without reading the description. Well, based on the title, I was like, oh, it sounds like a gaming type of anime.
Yeah.
And clearly, after watching, I was like, oh, it's not really gaming.
Not it at all. Yeah.
Yeah, but it kind of is like the dungeon type, like maybe Dungeons and Dragons type thing.
Is the show taking place in the dungeon?
Yeah, there are dungeons,
Okay.
yes. This is based on the South Korean webtoon, but it is a Japanese animation. It kind of threw me off because I didn't know it was South Korean at first, and when I saw the names and the subtitles, like Choi and like
Jiwoo
and there's Jinwoo. I was like, those sound like Korean names, and then my husband's like, yeah, it's based on a South Korean webtoon. I was like, oh,
so it's a Korean manhwa, and it's like their version of manga, so they say manhwa instead. And this has been out for a really long time. Like, I remember I read webtoons seldom, but I read some of them, and this one was on like webtoon already like a few years ago, and then they started coming out with printed books, and they would sell them at like Walmart or Target or Barnes and Noble, and they're thick, like super colorful books of this webtoon, and then finally they got around to making the anime.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And I think it'll just spread more like
awareness
Yes.
to like its existence.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It already had a huge like following before the anime, and just the first episode. Does it just have one or two?
There are 2 episodes.
Just the 2 episodes. Everyone's like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
Must be really good.
So, it's set in the modern world, and then the narrator said like a few years ago, this like giant orb thing just came out of nowhere, and then like people went in it, and it's a whole different world. It's fantastical. So it's like medieval times with like monsters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So then I thought it was kind of funny because like they made like employment out of it. So there are people called hunters that have these supernatural abilities, and it's by rank. So there's like S rank, A rank, B rank, C, D, and then there's E, which is like the lowest of the low, and that's our main character, Jinwoo. That's where he's ranked at currently. So he is the weakest hunter, and people are always really nice to him, but it's more, they kind of pity him, so they're like being nice, like saying, hey, what's up?
Oh, because they feel bad for him?
Yeah, they feel bad for him.
Because he's E rank?
Yes.
Okay.
And his friend, who is a B rank healer, so whenever he gets wounded, she's always there to heal him up.
Okay.
It's really interesting to see like the body just go back. So yeah, they started like making people like work as a hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So they like capitalized on this thing.
Okay.
I thought it was funny because there were like corporations. Oh, the Hunters Association, which reminded me of Hunter. But like they really capitalized on it, like with money, and made it like more corporated.
Oh,
corporation like. So
like a company?
Yeah, it kind of
Okay.
made me laugh. I don't know
like
why.
going in for like, are they like hunting for money and like it's a job?
It's a job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why Jinwoo is doing this, because his mom is very ill and his sister needs money to go to school. His father's just not in the picture anymore. So he's basically the only person that can make income. And that is why he's doing like a super dangerous job.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know if this is like I don't know what you call it. It's more of like a pattern that I've noticed with South Korean media and like, let's say, for instance, K-dramas too, where the main character is usually in some kind of financial, like financial, what do you call it, pit, right?
Oh, like Squid Games?
Yes,
Oh.
Squid Game, Parasite.
Yeah.
You can name any K-drama, and if it's a woman lead, she's usually from a family who's not very well off. And just that dynamic is interesting. Like, even in Solo Leveling, you got Jinwoo who needs money. And it's, I don't know, I guess a lot of their media is so heavily focused on money. It's different.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, I didn't know. Huh. Just a pattern I noticed.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. It is funny that they make it to where it's like, oh, if we need extra cash, you can come, I guess, hunt these monsters.
Yeah. I like that you made the observation.
Yeah, like
I don't watch a lot of like K-dramas
Mhm.
or anything, so I like to hear that input from you.
Yeah, every K-drama, especially if it's a K-drama focused on like a romance aspect, if the woman is like the main lead, she's usually not in a good place and she has to work like 6 or 7 jobs. And I think it's to set the story up for her meeting the other guy who is like usually either a CEO,
Oh my god.
or they're already really
No.
well off and they have that weird pedestal dynamic. So it's just interesting that a lot of their media does focus on that.
Yeah. I liked it so far. I didn't think it was gonna go the way it did, because like,
Ooh,
I'm not spoiling it all.
Right,
like, people die.
Yeah.
Like, you witness death, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would be like that.
In the first episode, no less.
It was either the first or second. But yeah,
still very.
I think it was in the first, because someone got sliced in half. I was like, whoa. So it's not a game. It's like real life. And I asked my husband, like, is this an isekai? And he said it's more like a reverse isekai. I'm like, okay.
It's just straight fantasy, huh?
Yeah, fantasy, action. Oh, for those who don't know, isekai is like a genre. I think it means like other world or something like that. I think we talked about this before, because we talked about isekai in our food episode. Basically, like, for example, The Rise of the Shield Hero. I can rant about that thing all day. But anyway, it was good at first. In The Rising of the Shield Hero, the main character, he opens up a book and then he's suddenly like summoned into this other world. And so he becomes like the shield wielder person.
Yeah.
And that's just an example of like an isekai, like you're brought into another world or something.
I relate it to like escapism, because a lot of isekais are like focused on a main character who is just like not doing well mentally, and usually they're just like really down in the dumps and they don't really cherish like the life they have. So then something happens to them and they end up in this fantasy world with a whole new set of characters in a place they've never been to before, and they learn like that they can have friends and lean on each other and everything. And I feel like that's a main theme in isekai, where it's just like, I don't like this place, so I'm gonna escape into a fantasy magical world. And then some isekais are pretty good where that ends up happening, but a lot of them, I personally don't really like isekais because they just follow the same trope.
Yeah.
You can say the same for like K-dramas though, and romance anime. They follow the same. I get it. But yeah, I don't know if you would consider this an isekai, because it's like incorporated in his world, right?
Yeah. But they go to another world, but they can still come back out.
I see how you say it. Reverse. Interesting.
Yeah. I'll continue watching it.
Yeah.
Because it's really cool, and I want to see I want to see Jinwoo, level up.
Yeah. Who's the studio who makes Solo Leveling?
A1 Pictures. And I looked them up, and I think they've done a lot that we've seen before. And
Yes. They made things like Fairy Tale, Black Butler 2, Anohana, Blue Exorcist.
I have a thing about Anohana. Oh my god, I was mad at that. After I watched 12 episodes, all 12, wasting my time. People will beg to differ.
Oh, Working is good. Working is like an office-based anime.
Sword Art Online. That makes sense.
Oh, Sword Art Online. Magi. Okay, I'm getting the feel for the studio.
All right. Like I said, I'm going to continue watching Solo Leveling and see where it goes. Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The thing that I'm going to be watching this season or keeping up with, it is a romance anime. It's called A Sign of Affection. And this series is really cute. Mm-hmm. I do want to start by saying that we do have several volumes in the system already if you'd like to place a hold and read the manga physically. We also have the manga online through like Overdrive.
Libby.
Libby. So this is a manga that came out a few years ago, and I read the first volume, and it was really good, and I just didn't get around to the second one. So they came out with a TV show or an anime. A Sign of Affection is about a hearing impaired university student named Yuki Itose. Itose. And she is 100% completely deaf, so she can't hear anything. And in the anime, she lives in a small town in Tokyo. It's like one of those like sub-districts. She's just a university student like the rest of them. She goes to class every day. She goes back home, and she has a few friends. And so the way that the series starts off is she's on the subway to get to school, and a person who's hearing, right, like just a person comes up to them and starts to try to communicate to Yuki, but Yuki's like, oh no, this person doesn't know that I'm like deaf or hearing impaired. And so he's like talking to her, and she's trying to read his lips, and it's not working out, and she's trying to think of something to say to try and tell him that she can't understand what he's saying. Mm-hmm. So in the midst of that interaction, a person comes up, and his name is, it's kind of a unique name, Itsumi Nagi. So he comes up, and he explains to the foreigner that the directions he's asking for, like the places over there, yada yada yada. He takes care of it. And Yuki's like, oh, wow, thank you. Like, she's, trying to thank Itsumi and everything. And he, like, waves her off. He's like, it's not a problem. Don't worry about it. And he leaves the subway station because their stop has come. But she gets so attached to that interaction because he didn't make a big show that she was hearing impaired, because she told him through a cell phone. She typed it out and showed it to him. And he just completely was unfazed. He was like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, I told him where this thing was, and have a good day. So she was really, like, she liked him at that point, because she's like, wow, he's treating me like he would treat anybody else. Mm-hmm. No special treatment. So that interaction happens, and Yuki talks to her friend Rin about him, and it turns out that Itsumi is part of the cultural club at the university, and that he is multilingual. So he knows several languages, and he travels the world. And so already we have like a comparison between their characters. So Yuki is like, she's only stayed in one place for her entire life. She doesn't really venture out, and she sticks pretty much to herself. She's very introverted naturally, and Itsumi has a lot of friends. He travels the world. He goes out all the time. So she's really. She really admires him for like his bravery and just like trying new things and whatnot. So she asked her friend Rin if like she can get Itsumi's contact information. So Rin sets up a little like almost like a date. They go to this restaurant that he works at, and she tries really hard to get the courage to ask him for his contact information, but she doesn't end up doing it anymore. She's like, oh, he won't be interested. and being friends with me because he has so many. And his world is so big that he's going to see me in my world. Yeah. And
Her
think I'm so small.
anxiety.
Yeah. Very, very real fears touch on in this first episode. They end up leaving the restaurant, right? And Rin is like, oh, I was going to walk Yuki home, but Itsumi, you can walk her home. And he's like, oh, yeah, no problem. And so they're like walking home, and it's such a cute interaction because she's trying really hard to think of a way to ask him for contact information. And he ends up just like giving it to her, I think. It's really cute. I love the anime already. Towards the end of it, she's like asking him, she's telling him thank you for like walking her to the station. And he's like, yeah, no problem. And she's walking away, and she gets a little text message, and on her phone it says like, he sends her message that says something like, let me into your world. And so she turns around, and he's just like showing the phone, and she is so happy that he wants to be her friend that she like throws her umbrella down and like does, I think, the okay sign for like yay, or
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure what sign this is, but she does that. And he's like, wow, like I don't know. It's just so wholesome.
Yeah.
And in the first, there's only 2 episodes out right now, but in both episodes, it also kind of teaches you sign language. Like it shows you the different movements she makes. So Itsumi asks like, Yuki, how do you say sure thing? Or like, I think it's of course or for sure. And she says, she's like, you take your pinky and you go like this for like for sure, or maybe of course. Correct me if I'm wrong. And he's like, oh, okay.
So American Sign Language and Japanese Sign Language are different. Just want to mention.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm used to
ASL.
because I live here. But
Yeah.
I'm sure it's different because obviously it's Japanese, so it's a different language.
Yeah.
So maybe over there that's what that means, and maybe that means something else. It's super, super wholesome. Another thing I really like about the anime is that the art is very like pastel-y. So
Ooh,
yeah,
I like
it's really
that.
cool. It reminds me of Honey and Clover, this other anime series by Chika Umino.
You talked about that for the art episode.
Yeah, the art is really, really nice. It's super soft. In the anime, of course, Yuki has a childhood best friend. And he, in the anime, it says that he learned sign language to kind of like talk to her and interact with her. And so they're already setting that up for like a love triangle of sorts.
No, I knew it.
Yes, like obviously her childhood friend who learned sign language for her has feelings for her. And so I'm just like all ready for this show. You can already tell who she's going to end up with just based on like her connection with Itsumi. But it's nice to see that she also cares about her friend. So I like it. I think I'm going to continue watching it. I'm really excited. And then I also think I'm going to read it. I already placed 1 through like 4 on hold in the system. And I also think it's kind of like, it reminds me of Silent Voice.
Yeah.
But way less sad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because Silent Voice is another anime series that touches on like hearing impaired individuals and their relationships with others. And that one is pretty heavy. Like,
it touches on mental health.
Yeah, and like bullying and whatnot. This one just seems like a straight up romance. So I'm excited.
Nice. Yeah. When I was looking up new anime to watch, that popped up. I don't want a romance, so I looked over it. But it sounds really interesting.
It's cute. I like it, yeah.
And I like the title too. A Sign of Affection.
Yeah. That's great.
Alright, so the next one that I'll talk about is Delicious in Dungeon. I didn't intend to watch like all these fantasy type of anime, but it just happened because they're new, they're coming out. So Delicious in Dungeon, we watched that on Netflix. I think it's only on Netflix. And I watched it in English because, well, the English dub is pretty good. And I was also tired and I didn't want to read. I would recommend watching the English dub. It's not too bad. I really liked it.
Okay, cool.
So basically, the story is about, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Laios, who is a swordsman. He was in a dungeon with a few people And his sister Phelan got eaten by a dragon, but she saved him. So she like did this magic to like I think teleport everyone to safety. But she is now stuck in the belly of the dragon, and they're trying to save her from getting digested completely. So she's like slowly getting eaten alive.
Oh wow! So
Yeah.
like they're all in there? They're all in the stomach, or just
Oh no, just Phelan,
okay?
his sister. She teleported them out somehow, so they're safe. 2 people resigned, so only his 2 good friends. Chilchuck, who is a halfling locksmith, so he can pick locks and disarm traps. And then there's Marcel, who is an elven spellcaster, so she can do magic. So throughout this series, like not a huge series. There are only 3 episodes so far. But this is like in a fantasy world. Kind of reminds me of like Dungeons and Dragons thing again. As I was watching this, I was like trying to compare it to like other RPGs that I play, like Final Fantasy and like Baldur's Gate. And I'm like, ooh, so well when Chilchuck first came out, I was like, oh, he could be like a rogue because like rogues are pretty good at like lockpicking and stuff. In order to get to Phelan as fast as possible, Lio suggested that they're going to eat monsters throughout all the dungeons that they had to go through in order to get to his sister. So they had to. She got swallowed by a red dragon. Marcel, she's so funny. I think I relate mostly to her because she's like super grossed out by a lot of the monsters that is suggested for them to eat.
Yeah.
Like there was a walking mushroom, and she's like, "Ew, I don't want to eat it." But then, like when you sadly you have to kill this mushroom, and like you cut it in half, and it looks like an actual mushroom, like in real life.
Okay.
And then like it has mushrooms for feet, like tiny mushrooms for feet. So you have to cut the feet off. It's kind of morbid. So you're essentially eating mushroom.
It goes into detail.
It does, yeah. And then like there's a scorpion that they had to kill too. It was kind of like a lobster in a way. Like they had to. Laios, it follows this guide on how to like cook monsters, and the guide isn't always right because it said that the venom is okay for them to eat. So he ate the venom and then he got sick. And he's like, but the guide said it was okay.
Where'd they get the guide?
I don't know where he got it. But during one of their stops, like while they were cooking the mushroom and the scorpion, a dwarf named, I think he said Senshi, he noticed that Laios wasn't really cooking the scorpion correctly, so he showed him how, and then like they made this like hot pot thing, and they also grabbed like some, I guess like vegetation from like the plants that were around the area.
Okay.
Senshi asked if he could be part of the group. He also has like this desire to eat monsters, and so Laios is like the only other person that has like that same desire. Okay. So basically they he tagged along so they could eat monsters together.
Nice. That's how you form the great friendships.
Yes. I found it interesting that Senshi said his name is it means something in Dwarfish, but I was like, oh, in Japanese it means fighter. So I'm like, I don't know. I thought that was an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I had a beta fish named Senshi, so that's how I know.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Like, what a coincidence.
What a random fact.
Yeah.
Random
so when you're
Janelle
watching
fact.
the show, were you like, oh my god.
I'm like, oh yeah, I had a fish. And Senshi.
Oh, that's cool. That sounds like a really good fantasy that incorporates cooking.
Yeah. The food kind of looks good, like even though it's from monsters.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they made it look kind of delicious.
It reminds me of Legend of Zelda, the Breath of the Wild series video game. You have to cook your own food sometimes to heal yourself or gain like special stats and boosts. And in the game, you can put together like lizard tails, fish, different kinds of mushrooms, body parts of monsters. Like if you put in like body parts of monsters with like a type of herb, you can make an elixir.
Oh,
so it reminds me of.
Yeah. Nice.
Because it's really gross. Like it'd be like the guts of a blob monster, and then you gotta like put it in there, and Link's like cooking up, and it's cool. I love that game.
So it's a really fun show so far. I think this is good for like any age group, but mostly maybe like tween and up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would recommend that like as a family watch for people.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think these shows have a lot of potential to be really, really good. Like,
Mhm.
I hope like I don't know, like more shows like this come out.
Yeah.
I also want to mention that like almost half or over half of the new shows that are coming out are either like shows that are continuing from last year or they're isekai based.
Mhm.
And that just seems to be like the theme now.
Yeah.
It's really popular. It's been the theme for a few years.
It's like really getting thrown out there. And the titles are so ridiculously long.
And I think part of that is because they are now making anime based off of light novels. And light novels have really long names.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost all light novels, for some reason, the formula they use over there to make light novels, it's like you have to have at least 3 conjunctions and 4 adjectives. Like, it's just, the titles are so long. Like, How to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon. There's that one.
Is it wrong to pick up girls in a...
Yeah, it's like a whole sentence. Like a whole question is the title of the anime. And it's because it was originally a light novel. Oh, so I actually watched this one. This one is I Can't Understand What My Husband Is Saying. Is the domestic... Oh, so I can't understand what my husband is saying. Basically a statement for an anime title. Super cute, though.
I'm the villainess, so I'm taming the final boss.
They're all like statements.
Oh, this science fell in love, so I tried to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I heard that one was cute.
Yeah.
The Genius Prince's Guide to Raising a Nation Out of Debt.
There's another one that reminds me of this. For the anime club here at Galena Park, someone recommended us to watch a title that says "A Realist Saves a Kingdom," but the title was much longer than that.
I wonder if they're any good. I also think that these are shows that I think are totally good on their own, and they're just almost like the anime industry is like, we really don't have anything new coming out, so let's go ahead and animate these light novels that aren't really getting much attention. It helps garner more book sales too, I think.
Yeah, totally.
It's just so funny that they're so long. And it's also probably the translation. Like, maybe in Japanese, it's not that long to them, but to us, we need so many more English, like, names or words in the sentence, so.
Yeah.
That could be it, too. Like, no matter how I look at it, it's your guys' fault I'm not popular.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, I am excited for the shows that we talked about. If you'd like to see the upcoming shows for winter 2024 and spring 2024, I always look at myanimelist.com. That's a really good website just to see what's coming out.
Yeah.
They're really up to date all the time. Also, you can just do a quick Google search, and I think it'll tell you too.
Crunchyroll has a list too.
Cool. Yeah. Crunchyroll does have a list. Winter 2024 banner, and then it's all the anime.
Yeah. Another one I quickly want to mention, my husband loves this one. It's called Frieren Beyond Journey's End. And this is another fantasy one. The main character is an elf. And because elves are immortal, a lot of her like friends and companions have passed away. So I think it was part of the first episode, but I could be wrong. The paladin that was in her party when they defeated the Demon King passed away because I think he was human or some other race.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not quite sure like what the plot is because I didn't like read too much into it or watch it. But it's a really popular anime so far, and apparently on Twitter, there are lots of memes about the show and a lot of posts about it, but it's really loved, and everyone likes the character Frioden, so you can look into that, and in case you are interested in like more fantasy type of anime.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I've seen a lot about that show. I can never say the title.
Frioden.
I'm just gonna say Beyond Journey's End.
Beyond Journey's End.
Yeah. Yeah, but I've seen a lot of good stuff about it, so I need to watch that one too.
Yeah.
Nice. I have one more to talk about. This isn't really one that came out this year in January, but it's one that came out last year, and it's Jujutsu Kaisen. And I want to talk about the second season because I personally have just been holding off on it. I don't know what took me so long to watch it. I was kind of waiting to have extra time, so over the holidays I finished the second season. It was a crazy season.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Bit heavy.
Very, very heavy. Now, I know we talked about Jujutsu Kaisen in like our previous episodes. We haven't really talked about it in depth because we've just had other topics to talk about. But, Jujutsu Kaisen is a world based on curses. And it's your like kind of classic shonen type of anime where you got like a powerful person who's one of the main characters of the show.
A powerful sensei.
Yeah, and a powerful sensei.
Then he has like 3 students.
Yes.
Like Naruto.
Some of my notes was like, it's an anime world of curses with a powerful trio, even more powerful senseis. So like,
yes,
it's just the power leveling in that show is insane as well.
Yeah.
But I think this is a very new anime series and manga series that like it's really different than other shonen I've seen.
Yeah.
And part of that is because there are a lot of beloved characters in that show that end up getting hurt, and it's an insane amount. I haven't seen that much in Naruto and Bleach. You do have characters who get hurt, but there's the trope of like they die and they get back up.
Plot armor.
Yeah, right? Or like you think Ichigo Kurosaki is dead and he turns out through the power of friendship, he's alive.
What's so funny is that the one time he got revived was because Grimmjow wanted to fight him.
Yes.
And so he made Orihime heal him back to life so they could fight.
Yeah, it's...
Oh my god, it's funny. I love Grimmjow.
Yeah,
anyway.
Yeah, it's like that. It's for very silly reasons. Yeah. And this second season of Jujutsu Kaisen, like the first season was also kind of bleak, but this one was even more so. And like so many beloved characters of the show just get really hurt. Part of the second season is that like the first 4 or 5 episodes are like a prequel to kind of set the stage for the rest of the season.
Oh yeah.
And I know there's some people out there who haven't seen like the entire show because they've only seen like the first prequel episodes, but definitely continue it, even though it is very sad.
Or you could stop right here and like go watch it because we might accidentally slip.
I mean,
out some
I won't
spoilers.
spoil anything, but I do want to mention. I do want to mention that the amount of popularity this show has gotten is interesting. Like, and I haven't personally seen that. I want to kind of briefly talk about like TikTok and how it's like a huge contributor to spoilage of this series.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. I didn't even I watched it towards November, December when the episodes were airing out. And I knew stuff even before I started watching the second season because I was getting spoiled on TikTok. I'm just going to say it because a more notable spoil is Usher recently came out with his Gojo cosplay. And I'll put it right here.
Usher?
Usher.
Oh my god, I didn't see this.
Usher came out with a Gojo cosplay.
Usher Raymond?
Yes. He came out. I'm telling you, this show is gaining a lot of traction, and it's now like reached celebrity status. He cosplayed as Gojo, and he says something in the caption that basically spoils Gojo's lore in the series, right? And Janelle's looking it up. So he posted it on TikTok, and I think it's good to mention that TikTok is becoming like a really massive platform for celebrities to interact with fans. He's not the only celebrity who is cosplayed as an anime character from the series. Megan Thee Stallion also cosplayed as Sukuna last year. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
It's a big spoiler. So if you want to see,
Whoa.
look
That's
up Usher
crazy.
TikTok and you'll find out yourself. It's just, I've never seen an anime get that much traction like that.
Yeah. I'm like, how did he know? Does he read the manga?
He must read the manga. So, like, lots of stuff happens in the second season. I am definitely ready. They announced the third season as well that's coming out. I don't think it's coming out this year, though. I think it was like 2025.
Oh, man.
For the third season, but it's already been like, green lighted, and Mappa is all over it already.
Oh, poor Mappa.
Yeah, they're just like, all right,
they have so much work to do.
Yeah.
I noticed their animation was a bit inconsistent this season just because, like, I think they had a week before each episode released or something.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, there was a lot of controversy too, like how writers were just getting, like the animators were getting very fed up and like tired because they're just getting overworked to bring out this series, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because it has such a high popularity. Like it'll definitely go down as like one of the like main anime that gets talked about for a few years, just like My Hero did. And, just like Bleach and One Piece continues to do so, this will still come out. We'll see so many Gojo cosplays for a very long time.
Yes. And Nanami, too.
And Nanami.
I see so much Nanami every convention that we go to.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a Nanami. Even, like, women dress up as Nanami, and I'm like, oh, yes!
Yeah.
It's really
and
awesome.
I have to wonder, like, what is it about these types of shows, especially shonen, that gains so much traction in like a short amount of time and like so much hype. I don't really like, it's a great show. I love it. But at the same time, I'm like, it follows the same themes of here's a powerful trio. Mm-hmm. What are they gonna do versus the bad guy? And it's just, everyone goes crazy for the series.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's just gonna be one of those.
Oh, even Chainsaw Man's like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. I wonder what it is. Like, who are we as a society?
We have the gloomy, dark-haired guy,
mm-hmm.
and like the upbeat girl. Oh, Sakura isn't really upbeat. Oh, anyway,
mm-hmm.
I have no hate on Sakura. I know a lot of people do. Maybe we can make an episode about that.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then the third one is always like the main character.
Yeah, it's like
a very lively.
Mm-hmm.
Usually like a dense character as the main. I don't know.
I think each like trio represents like maybe a cornerstone of humanity per se, and like they have to work together, so you're bringing it all together, and it's everywhere. In Powerpuff Girls, you've got the three where she's Blossom's like the leader.
Mm-hmm.
Bubbles is like labeled as the really sensitive, empathetic type of Powerpuff, and then you have Buttercup, who's more abrasive and straight to the point.
Yeah,
and that's like with every significant trio bunch.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to see.
Yeah.
I'm excited for what's new with Jujutsu Kaisen. If you want to avoid spoilers, I think just stay off of TikTok for it. But even Usher released a huge one.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's just like I did not have that in my January 2024 bingo card of like him spoiling JJK for me, but it happened. Mm-hmm. And I'm not that mad about it. Yeah, so I'm excited.
I might go back to some old anime to catch up on.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's one of my goals is to catch up on like other anime like Nana.
Yes. Really my God, you should watch Nana.
Yes. Is there one that like an older anime that you want to catch up on? Maybe like Attack on Titan.
Yes, Attack on Titan. I am being bullied. No, I do want to watch Attack on Titan, and Janelle and Jason are trying to get me, like, we're trying to like schedule a day where we can just watch it.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. Like, I want to see it. I have been spoiled on some things with Attack on Titan, but really I don't know like the meat the meaty parts of the show. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm reading more manga nowadays, so a lot of my anime is kind of put on the back burner for a bit.
Gotcha. That's nice. Yeah. I would like to talk a lot more about manga. So, yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you guys for watching. We hope that you watched some of our recommendations and that you enjoyed this episode.
Yes, we'll see you next month.
See you next month. Bye.